Now we move on to the Roman Greco portion of jiu-jitsu. As you progress through the ranks and you become a more and more competent grappler, you become more and more skilled, the emphasis shifts from simple self-defense to what they call in Portuguese ballet Judo techniques, which is my assumption now is that Mr. McMahon is getting close to his black belt and he's going to be fighting against other trained martial artists, other skilled athletes in a NHB or no holds barred type situation. As of late, the Roman Greco techniques have become more and more popular in the Ultimate Fight Championship and the Pride, because Roman Greco techniques can be done from an upright position. Now that they've introduced rounds into these modern NHB fighting sports, it becomes very important to get points. It becomes really important to punish a guy with your hands. And you can't do that if you're always like diving in at their legs. That's old style, and it works when you're fighting for a total submission, when you're fighting without judges giving their input. But when you have to use your hands and you have to defend other people's hand techniques, and that means their boxing, striking techniques, then it's very important that you know and be competent in your Roman Greco takedowns. When I first was introduced to Roman Greco, having a Judo background, I was really impressed because I love the way Roman Greco guys slam each other down on the face without, which I'm going to do to Mr. McMahon, without caring whether or not the guy flips in the air. A takedown is just that, a takedown. It doesn't matter whether or not he lands on his face. Now we're going to start off with the waist tackle. Whenever I start throwing somebody or think about throwing somebody, I have to work four corners, right? So when Mr. McMahon's fighting me, he can only defend in one direction at a time. That's his right rear, left rear. Am I right so far?
No,
and
that's my left.
That's his left rear, like I was saying, his right rear. And then this is his right front, and this is his left front. No, this is his left front, this is his right front. I always get that confused, but I'm still a competent grappling instructor, trust me. So he can only defend in one direction at a time. So whenever I lock up with him, whether I'm getting a grip on his jacket or locking him up around the waist, I have to be sure that I can hit him in four different directions. So the first direction that I'm going to do is I'm going to throw him straight back with what they call a waist tackle. And a lot of times when we start grappling without our gis on and start doing the Roman Greco type stuff, you see guys kind of meandering around here, and then kind of one guy kind of reaches in and the other guy blocks like so. You have to remember a waist tackle is just that. It's literally a tackle, and I have to like come from point A to point B in a real fast and explosive manner, just like I was going to kick him or punch him or throw my hips across. I have to explode into him. But when I'm doing the waist tackle, what I'm doing is, unlike a football tackle, I'm not throwing my body into him as hard as I can. But what I'm doing is I'm going to make a chain grip of my hands and hold them parallel to the ground so they almost create a blade. And I put my forehead on his sternum, the hard part of my forehead into his sternum, and I'm going to break his posture and grind him down to the mat like this. See how he's going to fall over backwards? So when I make my waist tackle, what I'm doing is I'm here protecting my head, and I'm going to come in. I'm going to use my left leg to penetrate. It's going to be go right in between his two legs, right under his center of gravity. I always know where his center of gravity is because I'm looking at his nose, and his center of gravity is always going to be directly under his nose. So I'm right here. I'm going to make my penetration. I start to reach around behind him. I make that blade with my chain grip, and I start to look down, and I just grind him down to the mat. So, again, I'm here. I make my waist tackle. He can't kick me or punch me because I'm shrugging my shoulders and I'm too close in. And then I'm just going to look down right into the center of gravity and fall down on top of him. The power twist works when he starts to resist that. And that's very similar to the Judo Ogoshi. If I was going to do an ogoshi, I'd reach around his hips, I grab one wrist, I throw my hips across, and I lift him up on my hips. I'm still going to do a similar technique to that, but instead of controlling his wrist, I'm just going to have this chain grip around his lower body, the small of his back, and I'm going to twist, and when that happens, he will probably land on his face. So we'll get right here. Now I'm still going to make the same penetration. I'm here for my waist tackle, and I'm going to throw my hips around, and he's just going to land on his face. I'm going to land on top of him. And that's the way I take him to the ground. I'm here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to penetrate with my waist tackle, throw my hips around, and he's just going to land on his face, and I'm going to land on top of him. Let's do that again. I want to get a little bit of lift so that you see. Go ahead and start to shift your body in the air. Yeah, right on. Okay, I'm here, but don't hurt yourself. I'm here, I shoot in, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift and take him down this way and land on top of him. The power twist, then there's something called a throw by, and that's when I'm going to put my center of gravity through him, lift, and then I'm going to throw him by my body. So again, he's going to land in his face. So if he has his front stance, he's going to be here with his left foot. I'm here, I'm going to lift and start walking through him like so, and then I'm going to throw him down, and he'll probably either land on his back or his face. I don't care, like so. If he's in a neutral stance, I can make the same kind of penetration step here. Let's do it right here. Make the same penetration step here. Boom, lift, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick him up and throw him by my body, like so. The last one's called a lateral drop. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my head sideways onto his sternum. I'm going to pinch his thighs, his one thigh rather, with my two thighs, and I'm just going to sit down. So I'm here, I make my same penetration step. This time my head sideways, right? I look down so I can't, and I pinch his thigh with my two thighs, and I just sit down and throw him backwards. And that's called, you okay? And that's called a lateral drop. Let's do it again so you can see. I'm here, I pinch his thighs, and I just sit down and land on top of him, like so. And that's the 4 directions you make with your Roman Greco high dive entry is what it's called. I'm here, it's a high dive entry. And here you can see that I'm shielded from any kind of kicking or punching, but I have to act quickly. And I'm also going to combine the Judo footwork that I know in order to take him down in an effective manner.